In the Melbourne suburb of St Kilda, you'll find the mess that is St Kilda Junction. The roads that disperse from here are St Kilda Road to the northwest and southeast, Punt Road to the north, Barclay Street to the south, Fitzroy Street to the southwest, Queen's Road to the west, and finally Albert Street, Wellington Street, Nelson Street and Queensway to the east. The main focus of this video, however, is the main road that diverges to the east, being Queensway. Queensway is the main road from St Kilda Junction out to the eastern suburbs. This highway is definitely an unusual and interesting feature of Melbourne, despite it only being 1 kilometre in length. The road is a massive 7-lane highway surrounded by these ugly concrete walls on each side, which are covered in graffiti. On top of this, there is also a tram line down the middle of the highway, which I'll get to later. Queensway opened in December 1968, replacing the original main road of Wellington Street between St Kilda Junction and Chapel Street, before rejoining the original alignment as it crosses Chapel Street and transitions into Dandenong Road. Queensway definitely stands out and is an absolute eyesore to look at, and it is really quite depressing but also interesting as it resembles what transport was focused on at that time, cars. It is essentially the exact stereotype of what you would think of when you think about America's interstate system, especially in the Los Angeles area. Queensway begins at St Kilda Junction, feeding into Queens Road, which continues into the city. It should be noted that the main part of Queensway is actually grade separated from the rest of St Kilda Junction, with access to St Kilda Junction itself coming from access ramps. The first is from St Kilda Junction into Queens Road towards the city, with the second also feeding out of the junction but eastbound towards Chapel Street. The third access ramp is located in the middle and is for trams only to allow trams on Queensway to access St Kilda Road. Following the junction, Queensway passes under Upton Road, which is also the location of one of the worst tram stops in Melbourne, more on that later. Next, the highway then intersects Wellington Street and then ends at Chapel Street, where it transitions into Dandenong Road, which features much more greenery and feels more like an arterial road rather than a highway. There also appears to be a footpath in the centre of Queensway, wedged between the road and the tram track. However, pedestrians are prohibited from walking here due to the numerous amount of no pedestrian signs displayed. Now, on to the most interesting part of the highway, the centre median tram line. This tram line somewhat resembles Perth's Yanchep railway line, which runs down the centre of the Mitchell Freeway. The tram line down Queensway actually used to run down Wellington Street, but it was relocated to Queensway upon its opening in 1968. There are actually 2 tram stops in the median, one at Upton Road and the other at Chapel Street. The stop at Chapel Street is nothing special, featuring shelters and bins. This stop is accessible, allowing for level access boarding for low floor trams. It should also be mentioned that Chapel Street also features a tram line which crosses Queensway. However, there are no curves here, so trams on both roads can only go straight ahead. The stop at Upton Road, however, is one of, if not, the worst tram stop in Melbourne. This stop can only be accessed from this staircase coming down from Upton Road. The outbound tram stop features a shelter, however it's almost unusable due to how much rubbish is dumped under it. To access the city-bound stop here, you must cross the tracks using the small pedestrian crossing. Weirdly, the city-bound tram stop has no pedestrian sign just past where the front door of the tram would be. The stop is also very questionable in its safety of waiting passengers. It would be very easy to trip over the low guardrail onto the road, or crossing the tracks when the tram is approaching at high speed. And to top it off, falling on the staircase is also quite a concern here. This tram stop is also known for being extremely noisy to wait at, with all the traffic noise that flies past here, and the concrete wall only makes it worse. With all of this, it makes you wonder if this stop should just be closed down. The main issue with this, however, is that it can be very surprisingly busy during the peak. It should also be noted that the stop is actually just called Queensway according to PTV, not Upton Road on Queensway. The final part of the tram reserve climbs up a slope and joins the main tram line on St Kilda Road at St Kilda Junction. So, which types of trams can be seen on Queensway? Well, there are two routes, both operated out of different depots. Route 5 is operated out of Melbourne Depot using a mixture of high-floor Z3 and low-floor D1 class trams. The other route, the Route 64, is operated out of Glen Huntly Depot using entirely high-floor trams, which are the Z3 and B2 class trams, and on rare occasions, even the A class. At St Kilda Junction, routes 5 and 64 join routes 3, 16 and 67 on St Kilda Road, all of which head towards the city terminating at Melbourne University. About 3 kilometres to the east of St Kilda Junction is the intersection of Dandenong Road and Wattle Tree Road, where the routes 5 and 64 split, with Route 5 turning into the line on Wattle Tree Road to head towards Melbourne, and while the Route 64 continues to use the line along Dandenong Road as far as Hawthorn Road, where it turns right into Hawthorn Road to head towards East Brighton. Route 64 has an unusual feature though, as it only runs to the city until 7 PM. After this time, Route 64 runs a shortened service as Route 64A, running from East Brighton to where it joins the Route 5 at the end of Wattle Tree Road. This service is sometimes referred to as the yo-yo service. This is due to low passenger numbers on Dandenong Road and Queensway at night, which is low enough to not justify having two routes running here at night. Until October 2023, this used to be the other way around, with Route 5 running the shortened service instead. This was switched due to Route 5 being operated partially by low-floor trams, and there are some accessible stops on Dandenong Road that would not have been accessible with entirely high-floor trams. Occasionally, Route 3 trams from East Melbourne would divert via Route 64 between Balaclava Junction and St Kilda Junction. It is also possible for Route 16 to be diverted via Queensway if Balaclava Road is blocked. Route 67 can also be diverted via Queensway if needed, however this would require both a blockage on Glen Huntly Road and Balaclava Road. So that's Melbourne's tram highway that is Queensway. Thank you for watching to the end of this video, and I will see you in the next one.